I just got the Platinum Trophy for the 3 LEGO Marvel games, LEGO Marvel Superheroes 1 and 2 and LEGO Marvel's Avengers. All 3 games follow the same blueprint of the TT Games' many other LEGO titles, featuring a hub world to explore where you can access levels where the game turns into a beat-em-up / puzzle solving game. With all the games following the same structure, all 3 Platinum hunts went a little like this. Step 1 is to complete the game's main missions and retrieve all the story-related trophies and some additional trophies here and there. Step 2 is to complete the game's side missions and retrieve the red bricks to make the grindier trophies in the end a bit easier. Step 3 is to replay all the main missions and the side missions in free play mode in order to collect every collectible of each mission. Step 4 is for all 3 Platinums the longest and grindiest part of the hunt, which sees us collecting everything in the open world and achieving 100% completion. And finally, the last step is cleaning up the remaining trophies. In this video I will be going over how I achieved every Platinum, my thoughts on the Platinums, my personal ranking of the games and finally my favorite characters of each game. If you want to skip ahead to a certain part of the video, go to the timestamps on screen now or click the timestamps in the description below. And now, without further ado, welcome to the LEGO Marvel video games. Even though LEGO Marvel Superheroes is the oldest game out of the 3, releasing back in October of 2013, this game is for many their favorite, which is reflected in the high review scores. Unlike many other Traveler Tales LEGO titles, LEGO Marvel Superheroes has an all-new story written for this game, just like the LEGO Batman titles before and LEGO City Undercover, which was released in the same year. The Silver Surfer is shot out of the sky by Dr. Doom, breaking his board and scattering cosmic bricks all over Earth. Nick Fury assembles Earth's mightiest heroes like the Avengers, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, X-Men and many others to collect these cosmic bricks before Dr. Doom and his team of villains can collect these bricks for their evil plan of taking over the world. The story sees us taking control over the heroes who go on quests retrieving the cosmic bricks, battling the villains who stand in their way. With the bricks going back and forth between both parties, they all end up in the hands of Dr. Doom. He is planning on constructing a super weapon which is capable of mind controlling Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds. But before he can do anything, he is betrayed by his former ally Loki. Nick Fury now unites the Earth's mightiest heroes and villains in order to stop Loki taking over the world, and of course we succeed and save the world. The story is told in 50 missions, which upon completing each mission we gain a trophy, resulting in a total of 15 trophies. During the first completion of the main story, we also achieved some additional trophies. First for completing our first helicarrier skydive, then for regenerating as Wolverine, and finally for defeating 100 enemies as the Thing. The side missions are narrated by Deadpool, who just like in the comics counterpart constantly breaks the fourth wall. The side missions often sees us taking control over the characters who didn't have the biggest role in the main game. There are a total of 11 side missions. Upon completing each mission we gain a red brick, in this case a Deadpool brick, which lets us unlock extras in Deadpool's room like stat multipliers and collectible detectors, which makes the grind of this game much more bearable. Unlike the other 2 LEGO Marvel games, the Deadpool bricks have to be unlocked by collecting more gold bricks, one of the many other collectibles in this game. But luckily for us there are 4 side missions available after completing the main game. Completing one of them even earns us a trophy. Completing 2 others lets us buy the 4 times and 10 times stat multipliers, which are useful for a trophy later on, where we need to collect 1 billion stats. During this step we also achieved one other trophy, which sees us playing as Agent Coulson. This step is my least favorite step in all 3 games. It sees us collecting every collectible and all the main missions plus the side missions and free play mode. The main missions have 3 types of collectibles. First one is to achieve True Believer status in each level, where you need to collect a certain amount of studs. The second one is to collect all 10 minikits in every mission. And the last one is to save Stan Lee from his various predicaments in each level. The side missions, which we unlock throughout this playthrough by collecting more gold bricks, also have 4 types of collectibles. The first one is again to achieve True Believer status on each level. The second one is also to rescue Stan Lee in each bonus level. The third one is to collect a character token in each level. And the last one is to collect the before mentioned Deadpool bricks. After all our troubles, we are rewarded with a trophy for achieving True Believer status on each level. And for every 10 minikits collected in a level, you can view a comic book of that level. After viewing one of them, we achieve a trophy. The other collectibles aren't for nothing because they end up counting towards the 100% completion trophy of this game. Now we go out and start to collect everything in the open world, which includes collecting the remaining gold bricks, the remaining character tokens, all the vehicle tokens and the remaining Stan Lee and Peril situations. During this big grind to 100% completion, we managed to collect 1 billion studs. It came way earlier than expected because at the end of the playthrough we managed to collect a total of 13 billion studs. With plenty of studs to spare, we bought every character and vehicle, which resulted in plenty of trophies. 2 trophies for buying Black Cat and Howard the Duck. A trophy for collecting Captain America, Iron Man, Mark 1, 6, 7 and 42, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Thor, Nick Fury, Agent Coulson and Maria Hill, which is the Avengers rosters of 2012's The Avengers movie. A trophy for collecting every Iron Man armor. A trophy for collecting Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, Beast, Iceman, Polaris, Professor Xavier, Archangel, Colossus, Gambit, Psylocke and Havoc, which are all seen as traditionally heroic mutants. A trophy for collecting Sabretooth, Juggernaut, Pyro, Mastermind, Mystique, Magneto, Acolyte, Blob and Toid, which are all seen as traditionally evil mutants. A trophy for collecting Gamora, Drax, Groot, Rocket Raccoon, Star-Lord, Ronan the Accuser and Nova, which are all the Guardians of the Galaxy characters of this game. A trophy for collecting Doc Ock, Sandman, Mysterio, Kraven the Hunter, Electro and Vulture, which are all the original Sinister Six from the comics. And finally a trophy for collecting all 24 animal themed characters. The last thing to do was to collect all the remaining gold bricks, which there are a total of 250 of, and rescue Stan Lee from every peril, with this last one giving us a trophy. After completing, collecting and buying everything, we managed to complete the game 100% and earned the rarest trophy other than the platinum. In this last step, we need to do various things in order to clean up the trophy hunt, so let's quickly go over them. Destroy 100 vehicles in the open world. Perform Hulk's special move on Loki, which is a reference to 2012's The Avengers movie. Perform a special throwing move as Colossus on Wolverine, which is a fittingly called Fastball Special, which is a tag team move performed in the comics, where a strong character throws a willing character at a target. It first appeared in the X-Men 100, where the Colossus and Wolverine first performed this move. Team up Captain America with Human Torch, which is a reference to the actor Chris Evans playing both characters in the Fantastic Four movies and the MCU movies. Create a custom character and naming that character Trevor, which is a reference to the Trevor Slattery character in 2013's Iron Man 3. Drive to the Baxter building as Magneto and the Magnetomobile, which first appeared in the 1978 cartoon The Fantastic Four, Episode 2, The Menace of Magneto.
For when they do, I get angry. And when I get angry, things begin to happen. No, it's impossible.
Transform into the Hulk 50 times. Transform Mr. Fantastic in a teapot. Transform all 5 big LEGO figure transformations, which are Hulk, Venom, Kurt Connors, Red Hulk and Stan Hulk. We also gain a trophy for transforming in Stan Hulk, which is also our last trophy of this game. With that, we have collected all the trophies for LEGO Marvel Superheroes and receive our Platinum Trophy. With positive reaction on the previous LEGO Marvel game, a sequel was quickly greenlit. But instead of a true sequel, we were given a Legofied version of the then growing MCU movies, with the main focus of the game being 2012's The Avengers and 2015's Age of Ultron, with some levels focused on Captain America the First Avenger, Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World and Captain America the Winter Soldier, even though the game came out almost a year after Age of Ultron. Trevor Tales filled in the remaining gaps left behind by this later release date by adding add-ons later on in this game's life cycle. The many other add-ons releases coincided with the release of other MCU projects, often in order to create hype or interest in said projects. The game even goes so far in the adaptation of the MCU movies by using voice lines from the movies. The reviews were still positive, although a little on the lower side, with the biggest critiques coming from the fact that the game tries to stick to the MCU and can't reach its full creative potential like we saw in the LEGO Marvel Superheroes, and the LEGO games becoming repetitive up until this point, with each Traveler Tales LEGO game sticking to the same formula. Let's find out if these same critiques have an influence on the Platinum experience. The first thing to do was complete all 15 missions without worrying about any collectibles, since we need to replay all of them in free play mode in step 2. This rewarded us with 15 trophies in total. While playing the story, I managed to unlock 2 other trophies, one for achieving True Avenger status, this game True a Believer equivalent, in any mission, and one for transforming from Bruce Banner into the Hulk. This game doesn't have any side missions, instead all the red bricks can also be found in the main game missions, in the form of little mini fetch quests given by the collector in each level. Instead, this step in the Platinum Hunt is focused on replaying every mission in free play mode and collecting everything there is. But before we can start to collect everything, I needed to collect some characters with special abilities, like Squirrel Girl for her digging abilities and Ultimate Ultron for the ability to destroy cosmic objects. Now we could start. Each mission contains 5 types of collectibles: Stan Lee in peril situations, a red brick, 3 character tokens, achieving True Avenger status and 10 mini-kits. Even after all those hours of replaying every mission, the step of the hunt only yielded 2 trophies. One for unlocking and viewing all 50 mini-kit comic pages, and one for purchasing and turning on all the red bricks extras at the same time. The other collectibles will count towards the rarest trophy of this game, the 100% trophy, which we will finish up in step 3. Instead of only featuring Manhattan and the Helicarrier as a hub location to explore, this game adds an additional 7 hub locations: the Sealed Base, Sokovia, Malibu, the Barton Farm, Asgard, Washington DC and South Africa. Simply visiting every location in one session rewards us with a trophy. Each hub location has gold bricks, Stan Lee in peril situations, characters and vehicle tokens to collect, and after collecting everything we achieve 100% rating and witness the stunt fountain inside Avenger Towers and gain our trophy. While grinding out this trophy, I managed to stop 10 random crimes in Manhattan during a single session, which rewarded us with a trophy. With almost half of the trophies still being locked, there was still much cleaning up to do. Most of the trophies were about playing as a certain character in a single session, so let's go over them. Play as all 14 Iron Man variants, excluding the Mark 38 and Iron Legion variants in one session. Play as Fandral, Hogan and Volstagg in one session, who in the comics are referred to as the Warrior 3, who first appeared in Story B of Journey into Mystery 119 and were also adapted on the big screen in the Thor movies. Play as Kate Bishop, Hulking, Wiccan, American Chavez and Speed in the same session, who are all at one point part of the Young Avengers, but with the key figure like Iron Lad and Patriot being left out of the game. Play as Iron Fist, Daredevil, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, who are all the lineup on the team The Defenders in the comics and in the Netflix miniseries also named The Defenders. Play as Captain Britain, Union Jack, Spitfire, Agent Carter and Trevor Slattery in one session, who are all just British characters. Play as Moon Knight, Moondragon and Moonboy in one session, who all just have the word Moon in their name. Play as any version of Falcon and as any version of Cap, while in Washington DC, which is a reference to the On Your Left scene from Captain America Winter Soldier. Team up Nick Fury and Quicksilver, which is meant as a joke to the Fast and Furious series. Play as Vision as both characters. Play as Harley Keener, who is the boy from Iron Man 3 and the guy at Tony Stark's funeral in Endgame, and Tony Stark in a session. Grow Ant-Man, Black Goliath and Fin Fang Foom in one session, who are all the big characters of this game. Transform from Lou Ferrigno to the Hulk, which is the actor and voice actor who played the Hulk in many adaptations of the characters in the 70s through the 90s, and even reprises his role in this game. Create a custom character and make him equip Jonathan. Play as Aldrich Killian and make him die and respawn because the character has regenerative healing factor. Play as Agent Coulson and make him die and respawn, which is not because he has regenerative powers, but because in the Avengers movies he seemingly died by the hands of Loki, but was then resurrected multiple times in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series. While on the topic of Agent Coulson, we need to drive as Lola, which is a vehicle the character drives in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series, and stands for Levitating Overland Automobile. And lastly, we transform Stan Lee in his Hulkbuster armor. And with that, we achieve our second platinum of this video. If you are enjoying this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe and turn on notifications. Now on with LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2. Releasing less than 2 years later than the previous game, LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2 launched with positive reviews, almost capturing the same magic from the first game but falling flat in some aspects, with the biggest critique again being the same old Traveler's Tales LEGO formula not innovating much over the years. Unlike LEGO Marvel Avengers, LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2 is a true sequel to the first game, with the biggest upside being returning to an original story that pleases every Marvel fan. Speaking of the story, let's get straight to the first step of this platinum hunt. The main bad guy in this game is Kang the Conqueror, whose main power is being able to manipulate time and the multiverse. His next new plan for universal domination is to piece together various locations that he has stolen from across time and space, with his citadel at the center, collectively called Chronopolis. Heroes from all universes gang up in order to stop Gang by traveling from realm to realm in order to find the Nexus shards to summon Nowhere and use its powers to bring down the barriers holding together Chronopolis and return every location to the right time and space. The story is told in 20 missions, and just like the previous games, rewards us with 20 trophies as well, with an additional trophy for beating the game. The only extra trophy I got during this step was creating a custom character, which was needed in order to create a disguise for entering one of the missions. Side missions return in this game in the form of Gwenpool missions, who act the same as the Deadpool missions from the first game. Characters who weren't a part of the main game have a moment to shine in these missions, all narrated by Gwenpool herself. It's funny to think that the character of Gwenpool wasn't even created yet when the first LEGO Marvel came out, since her design only appeared in 2015 on a variant cover of Deadpool's Secret Wars 2, and her character fully appeared later that year in Howard the Duck Volume 6, Number 1. In order to unlock these missions, certain characters have to be unlocked, so that's what I did. I went around the map in order to unlock specific character tokens in order to unlock these missions. Once I played and completed every bonus mission, I unlocked Gwenpool and earned my next trophy. Now that every mission is available to play in free play mode, I went out to collect every collectible. The main missions have 4 types of collectibles in each mission. The first one is to achieve True Believer status, the second one is to find 10 minikits, the third one is to find all the character tokens, and the last one is to save Stan Lee in every barrel situation. The side missions have the same 4 types of collectibles, but instead of the minikits we need to find the pink Gwenpool bricks, who are this game's red bricks. After replaying a total of 30 missions in free play mode, I unlocked 2 trophies, one for obtaining True Believer status in every level, and one for unlocking and viewing all minikit comics. During this step I also accidentally unlocked 3 other trophies by switching around characters in my party. The first one was by having various Captain America characters in one party. The second one was by having Groot and Baby Groot in one party. And the third one was by having multiple gangs in one party, since the comics gang often appears in multiple variations, just like the post-credit scene in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now came the grindiest part of this platinum hunt, going for the 100% completion. When all was said and done, I unlocked 7 trophies. One was for rescuing all 50 Stan Lees, one for completing all 27 races, one for completing 10 challenges in Chronopolis, one for completing all quests in Chronopolis, one for purchasing all 236 characters, one for collecting all 255 gold bricks, and finally one for achieving and witnessing the 100% LEGO Stud Fountain, the rarest trophy of this game. With that, there were only 10 trophies left to unlock, so let's go over them. The first one I went for was to play a game of Capture the Infinity Stone in the Grandmaster mode, which lets you fight different characters in various game modes, which is all a reference to the Grandmaster being someone who sees everything as a game and likes to pit beings against one another for his own amusement in the comics and in the MCU, like we see in Thor Ragnarok. The next 3 trophies came from destroying a certain amount of enemies under certain circumstances. One for destroying 100 enemies as a Hulk from Thor Ragnarok, one for destroying 100 vehicles, and one for defeating 30 enemies using the Black Knight. The next 4 came from playing as certain characters, one for playing as Fin Fang Foom in a certain level, one for having Cosmo and Lockjaw in a party because they are both dogs. A fun fact is that Lockjaw also appeared as a statue in Marvel Spider-Man, which I also got a platinum trophy for together with every DLC trophy, so if you're interested, check out these videos. One for playing as Morbius, Cap Wolf, Triton and the Living Mummy in a single party, who are all monsters from the Marvel Universe. And one for exploring ancient Egypt as Kang. For the second to last trophy, I danced as Star-Lord and made 5 characters dance. And for the last trophy, I took a selfie with Isan the Searcher. And with that we achieve our third and final platinum of this amazing series. Before we go over my opinion on each LEGO Marvel game and rank them, I'm quickly going over my thoughts on the platinum experience since I'm now the proud owner of all 3 of them. If you have ever played a TT Games LEGO game, you have basically played them all, which isn't meant in a bad way. It means there is a game or franchise for everyone to enjoy with the same LEGO formula and charm to them. But the same thing can also be said about the platinum trophy. The 5 steps I explained in the beginning of the video can more or less be applied to every LEGO game, with a few exceptions. Meaning that going for multiple platinum trophies can feel really repetitive, especially if you do them back to back like I did. My suggestion would be to play some other games in between to not get easily bored. In terms of difficulty, these games are a breeze to go through. They are targeted towards kids after all. There was rarely any moment where I was struggling with the game except for a few puzzles or races here and there. The only thing to keep in mind is that the games have a grind element to them and will take about 30 hours each. Another thing to keep in mind is that both LEGO Marvel Avengers and LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2 do have 6 additional DLC trophy lists each, meaning when you get the platinum trophy you only will get around 70% completion on your trophy list. Some extra money will be needed to buy these DLC packs in order to complete everything to the fullest. So, in short, if you're a fan of the LEGO games and Marvel and you are willing to spend some time on these games, the platinum trophies are a great entry on your trophy list.
Excelsior!
This is all purely subjective and my opinion, but make sure to drop your rankings of the games and the characters in the comments below, but here goes mine. At number 3 we have LEGO Marvel Avengers. The main problem with this game for me is the whole premise of having a LEGO version of the MCU. Don't get me wrong, I love the MCU and even the newer stuff. But with an IP like Marvel with its extensive history of comics and characters, it feels like you limit yourself by only focusing on one part of it. This certainly worked for other LEGO titles, but when you look at the success of the first superheroes game, you begin to wonder why even bother making a game of something that already existed. The answer is probably capitalizing on the success of the MCU, which in my opinion could have been done in more creative ways, like bonus levels or DLC in an original LEGO Marvel game, or even just filling an original game with references and similarities to get the same MCU feeling, like you have with the first superheroes game. That being said, the game is still much fun to play, and does have some quality of life improvements over the first game, and an impressive roster of characters, even if key characters are missing. So if you're a big fan of the MCU and its earlier titles, this is a game still worth checking out. At number 2 we have LEGO Marvel Superheroes 1. This game would have probably been most people's number 1 choice. While this game set off the whole LEGO Marvel game series and did it pretty perfectly, something still draws me more to the second game. I think it has to do with the fact I'm kind of bored of stories that feature the MCU lineup of Avengers where Iron Man has such a big focus on him and not letting the other hundreds of characters shine. That being said, the game is still perfectly put together and not many negative things can be said, but at the end of the day it's still my personal opinion, and with that, at number 1 we have LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2. The thing I love the most about this game is that it feels like a comic book. If you have read any comic book, you know how wild it can get sometimes, and this game fully embraces it with a big love letter to everything in Marvel's history. It really shows that the developers had fun with this game. It also shows that having an original Marvel game works. The huge roster of characters and story that integrate them works very well and still leaves room for references and Easter eggs to the MCU. Just look at the redesigns they did to certain characters to fit in more with the movies. So for the fans of the movies, there is still an enjoyable game as well. The negatives of this game come in the form of bugs, before mentioned fatigue of the LEGO game formula and the absence of the X-Men, but for me those things can all easily be overlooked and it still leaves a solid game behind. Next up, my favorite characters in all three games. To start off with LEGO Marvel Superheroes 1, we have to start with Spider-Man. He has a simple design and his web swinging animations are oddly satisfying. I also like the fact you can swap the suit for the future Foundation suit, which is kind of a strange choice of the developers to choose from, but I like it. Next up is Iceman. I don't really know much about this character, but I like his running animation and his satisfying downwards glide. Deadpool is a character that just needs to be on this list. It's one of those characters that require a little bit more effort to unlock, which makes him all the more rewarding to play with. He just looks cool and has some nice fighting animations. Next up is a villain for change, the Green Goblin. I like this glider and the fact that he throws pumpkin bombs as weapons is pretty cool. Another nice touch was the inclusion of his ultimate variant, which is a whole different beast altogether. My last character for this game is Venom. Just his whole symbiote-like appearance, the fact he can swim and turn into a big figure makes him such a cool character. Next game is LEGO Marvel Avengers. First up is a pretty simple character. It's Steve Rogers with his boxing gloves. I don't know what it is, but it just looks nice and he is in one of my favorite levels of the game. Next character I actually had to look up to see if he was even real, and it's Detroit Steel. He looks so out of place, but I love him for it. He has a chainsaw for one hand and a machine gun for the other. Plus he has a nice running animation, and he can fly. Next up is a character that's probably on everybody's list. It's Fin Fang Foom. This character is just so much fun to play with once he grows to his fullest size. And lastly for this game we have Stan Lee. What makes him better in this game compared to the other games is that he possesses many abilities and he can transform in 3 different variations: Excelsior Hulk, Iron Stan and Stan Buster. And now finally LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2. Again we have to start off with Spider-Man, of course. I love his new suit in this game and the inclusion of all the other suits and all the variants of Spider-Man, like Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Gwen, Silk, Miles Morales, Spider-Ham and many others. Another character related to Spider-Man that I really liked they included him in this game is Agent Venom. I really like him in the comics and I like his appearance here in LEGO form. Speaking of Venom, my next pick is Carnum. The reason I really like him is that he's an all-original character to the LEGO games, meaning he hasn't appeared in the comics book before and was just created for this game. For the last character, let's step out of the Spider-Verse and let's go to space with Star-Lord. The best part of his character is his ability to dance to Mr. Blue Sky. Other characters can also dance, but what makes Star-Lord special is that he can shoot at the same time. And with that, you know how I got every platinum trophy for every LEGO Marvel game, my rankings and my favorite characters. Take care and bye for now.